players were back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Hi and welcome to another episode of Retro Motorsport. This week it's about two wheels and four with superbikes, drags and rally. Up first it's the 2010 New Zealand Superbike Championship Round 5 from the amazing circuit at Hampton Downs.
After four hard-fought rounds, the final event of the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship comes to Hampton Downs. Ever since it was mooted that the race would be at Hampton Downs, all the experts were saying this would be the leveller. Top contenders in the Superbikes, Andrew Stroud and Robbie Bugden, would go at it, and the points in the 600s were as close as you could be. Hamilton's Nick Cole up against the mainland's James Smith on the Suzuki. Who would win? It would come down to the final race. Nick Cole is the challenger on the Red Devil Racing Kawasaki. This means such a lot to the man from Hamilton.
You've got a good team behind you, you've got your dad helping you out, of course, and you've got some good engineers. What would it mean to you to win this?
Oh, it's years and years of hard work, really, that build up to us. You know, a lot of sponsors I've got to thank. I can't thank them enough. It's sort of going to be no words to describe, I think. So I think I was about to tell you at the end of the day, sort of don't want to say too much right now. I haven't started yet.
Christchurch's James Smith was conflicted. He was riding the Superbikes, but he was close to the title in the 600 sports production class.
600 is definitely the priority. I really want to win it. I want to win it real bad. I definitely don't want to come second for the third time in a row. Nick's been going really good. He's actually been a little bit faster than me this weekend so far. But I'm real comfortable with the pace that I'm running, and it's we're only talking a couple of hundreds. So I'm just sort of looking forward to seeing how the race pans out. This track's it's going to be a handful with all the hairpins that it has. So it'll definitely be a lot of passing and a lot of elbows, I suspect.
Well, this is the first of the two 600 sports production races, and it is close as can be. And you've got to know the backstory, because at the Manfield round, the previous round, there was a protest and James Smith is riding under a bit of a cloud. I'm joined once again by Jamie McCarthy in commentary as these bikes tip into turn one. And Jamie, that's going to be a problem for some of these guys as well. The blind brows and the hairpin corners.
Well, it's a combination of the likes of Phillip Island, even Laguna Seca to a certain extent through that infield hairpin, but it is a wonderful motor racing circuit. And I, for one, have been really looking forward to seeing the 600s and the Superbikes and all of these classes racing at Hampton Downs for the Castrols.
Oh, there's problems already. Glenn Scatchell, he's rubbed James Smith, and I think they've both come down. Yes, they have. Well, James Smith, you heard him say in the interview, he didn't want to finish second again. Is he going to do it? There it is on the replay. Scatchell just got in a little bit too deep, I think, Jamie.
Well, it looked like he did, and the bike just got unsettled and just ran into the side of James Smith.
Well, there is the outcome. Smith and Glenn Scatchell down, the Suzuki runners. This man, well, he'll be rubbing his hands with glee if he knows what's gone on behind him, because Nick Cole was so close in points to James Smith, and now no more James Smith and no more Glenn Scatchell. Scatchell could have played a spoiling role in this. He could have separated the two in the point situation, but that's all conjecture now, and now Kawasaki's Nick Cole has got to go ahead and win this race.
On board here with Cole looking over the rear tyre of the Kawasaki. This is the run up the hill past the apartments.
And look at the lead he's got already as we complete one lap around this amazing circuit. It's been the leveller. Well, it was a leveller in practice as well, and it will be in the racing. What these guys have got to contend with, and if they haven't raced overseas, they'll have no idea about it, is the uphills and the downhills, the elevation changes, the camber changes in the corners. New Zealand hasn't got a motor racing track like the one we've got here at Hampton Downs.
Well, unfortunately, that first lap incident's just taken a little bit off this race for the 600s with Skatchel and Smith going down. Nick Cole was the top qualifier at a 106.226, and he was only 1/100th of a second quicker than Skatchel, with James Smith back in third, just 3/10 off the pole time.
Well, the racing continues, and we're watching this enthralling battle for second and third. Midge Smart on the Yamaha, and right in behind him on the RCM Coleman Suzuki, that is Carl Morgan. But Nick Cole, he's where he needs to be. He'll get the maximum 25 points here, but poor old James Smith, and to a certain extent Glenn Skatchel, will get nothing because they're in the sand at the end of turn 1.
Well, what a way to start a weekend, but how cool is this motor racing circuit for these 600s? And just looking at the lap times, 106.2 for Cole. You're only about a second and a half slower than the Superbikes. Probably got some handling advantages being a little bit lighter with some of the tighter corners here at Hampton Downs.
Well, it's a bit of a trade-off, the lightness, because I was talking to the riders, because with all the elevation changes on the brows of the hills, the back tyre gets very, very light. That sets the bike up to go sideways. Look at this battle we got here. Number 4, that's Dennis Charlotte from Christchurch, finished 4th in the 600 sports production last year. With him, Dave Manuel from Auckland, and also Sam Love. Sam Love was the Pro Twins champion last year. He's made the move up to the 600. You see the yellow flags flying. There's the broken bike of Glenn Skatchel. There's this battle we're talking about. Charlotte right in the mix, but out on the front it's Cole.
Charlotte also a former New Zealand 600 champion 2 seasons ago.
Well, that's right. He got his start in 125 racing, and he told me that the 125s taught him 2 things. Taught him to be comfortable in the close quarters racing, and it taught him to carry corner speed. And I guess corner speed is very important here at Hampton Downs.
So just looking at the lap times at the moment, Phil, the quick guys out in front have set their best laps fairly early. Midge Smart on lap 3, Nick Cole on lap number 4, and Cole can probably just afford to back off the pace a little bit and just conserve.
Well, he certainly can, because Midge Smart isn't really a factor in the championship. He hasn't done all the rounds, although he had a storming round at the penultimate round in Manfield on his R1 Yamaha. The man from Inglewood in the Taranaki was a sensation out here a couple of seasons ago on a 125, but then broke his collarbone quite badly. This battle continues. Sam Love and Dennis Charlotte going at it like there's no tomorrow. Charlotte, all the experience in the world. He is one of these racers that has raced overseas. But so too is Nick Cole. We ride with him here. And you see Midge Smart not really making too much of an impression. And there's what I mean with the elevation changes. The bikes get very light on the brows. And the other thing I guess you've got to contend with, Jamie, is because in a lot of cases here at Hampton Downs, those brows are blind. You can't see over the top of them.
Well, these guys, and I've heard it from the car guys, coming down to the hairpin, the guys up the top of the hairpin can actually look down on the roofs of the cars down below, and I wonder if the bikes are the same, mind you. Probably a little bit more concentration with the lean going down to that hairpin turn.
Well, speaking of leaning, look at Sam Love leaning all over Dennis Charlotte here. This is the battle in for the minors, I guess you'd say. Charlotte just getting a little bit ahead. Approaching speeds of around about 270, 275 kilometres an hour, heading up past the start-finish line. Love dives up the inside as they go into turn 1. That's a very, very brave place to pass.
There was a couple of different lines through turn number 1. There's probably a passing lane and then there's the fast lane, but that's a big break off the end of that main straight, because that turn off the brow, we've got another one down.
It's Carl Morgan. Well, he was running in 3rd place, but Auckland's Carl Morgan has come to grief. In the sand, you see here at Hampton Downs, well, that has just let this man off the hook even more, because Morgan was an outside chance of a podium finish. Nick Cole, his opposition is dropping like flies. Hamilton's Nick Cole has raced like a man possessed this season. On an aggressive training program, he has lost 15 kilograms during the off-season and upped his fitness level tenfold. With the support of his family-based team Red Devil Racing and Kawasaki, he will look to wrap up the title here at the final round. So we are down to the business end in the 600 sports production class here at the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand 2010 Superbike Road Racing Championships, and Nick Cole is going to take the maximum 25 points. Midge Smart, well, the forgotten man in 2nd place, he will go through in 2nd, and it'll be Dennis Charlotte in 3rd. And another man looking to gather some points here will be John Ross. He is an outside chance of a podium in this very closely contested 600 class. Chris Costello pulls the checkered flag out for Nick Cole on the Kawasaki. 2nd place, as we said, will be Midge Smart from Taranaki on the Yamaha. And in 3rd place, it'll be Suzuki's Dennis Charlotte. 4th place will go to Sam Love. And in 5th, it's John Ross from Christchurch.
Yeah, I was a bit stunned when I saw that happen right in front of me. I was sort of glad I wasn't the one in the lead. So, yeah, I don't think James is going to be too happy, but it's the way it goes, eh?
Well, just heading into the hairpin there, Glenn, he must have outbraked himself and he just sort of cleaned me out. I know he didn't mean to do it, and he probably feels quite bad about it, so it sucks for him, but I'm really, really disappointed. I didn't want to go out like that.
Welcome back to Hampton Downs. We are into the Superbike action now. And have a look at the points. Andrew Stroud on top, 178 to Robbie Bugden, 135. It's been a difficult season for the Australian. He's had all sorts of mechanical issues. But look how close it is for third and fourth. Craig Sheriffs and James Smith on the Suzuki. Top Suzuki runner, though, is 7-time champion Andrew Stroud.
You've been quoted in the press saying that, okay, you got a 40-point lead, but you want to go out and win. You want to go out and dominate today.
Yeah, but at the same time, I still want to stay on, like, especially the first one. So I'll see what the pace is like and gauge it from there. But always be trying to win, looking for the space, but at the same time, be trying to stay on.
3 times a champion in New Zealand, but it's not going to be that way in 2010 for Queensland's Robbie Bugden.
I guess now the championship's kind of out of my hands. I just really need to concentrate on this weekend. I just want to go out with a win. If I can win both races, I'll walk away happy, and we'll just see where the championship ends up. But, for me, I just want to win a couple of races and we'll see what happens.
Well, we are on board here with Sloane Frost on the second row of this big starting grid here at Hampton Downs. It's the final round of the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. Not a great start for Sloane Frost, but a pretty good start for James Smith by the look of it. And I think that might have been Andrew Stroud just cutting off the water of Sloane Frost, so he hasn't got a good start either, Jamie.
Well, there were bikes in all sorts of different directions down there through turn number 1. We had a bike stall on the grid. Robbie Bugden, he did what he needed to do at qualifying. He was the top qualifier at a 1:04.593. He needs to win both races in hopes that something happens to Andrew Stroud to try and get title number 4.
Well, that's right. I talked to him before the racing started, and he said it's all about reclaiming a bit of pride on the Triple R Suzuki Mack Trucks racing team for Red Fenton. 3 times he's come to New Zealand, 3 times he's left for the title. Whatever happens, he's not going to do it this time. The point spread is too great.
Great shots there with Sloane Frost. You can just see that elevation change, especially down off the hairpin.
Well, now you've got the situation where James Smith was concentrating on the 600 sports production class. He's riding the Superbikes as well. He's in the front of this field. That's him, number 77 on the Triple R Suzuki. There's Bugden, his teammate, right in behind him. Andrew Stroud is coming. I wonder now if James Smith has decided maybe the 600's gone. I'm going to be second again. He's in a huge dogfight with Craig Sheriffs for third in the Superbike. So I just wonder if that's where his attention's now going to go.
Well, he's got nothing to lose and to be fired up after that off during the 600s. A Stroud applying the pressure to Bugden. Fitzgerald back there in fourth. Craig Sheriffs notably with a struggle in qualifying. He only qualified 8, so he's got a little bit of work to do. So the advantage right now is with Smith for that battle for the third points position.
Well, I can tell you the reason he didn't qualify well. He had 2 enormous accidents here. In fact, he's limping. In fact, when we went down to the riders' briefing this morning, he rode his bicycle. He didn't want to walk. That's how much his left leg was hurting him. Had a huge high side yesterday and then a crash in qualifying right off that turn 1. That's the one that's causing the Superbike guys so much trouble. There is Andrew Stroud just lurking. He really doesn't need to win this race, but I talked to Andrew before the racing started and he said, hey, I'm a racer. If I can win it, I'm going to try and win it. He didn't get the very best of starts, but unfortunately, over the last few years, that's been a bit of a hallmark of the brother Suzuki rider.
He is definitely a racer. I mean, you haven't done what Andrew Stroud's done without being a racer around the world. He's had victories in Europe, the US, all over Australasia, and he's one of New Zealand's best. He's just an absolute legend.
Well, he's a 7-time champion in this class alone, and he's gone up the inside of Robbie Bugden, and Bugden looks over as if to say, how did you do that, Andrew? You're not meant to pass me there, but that's exactly what he's done, and now he's in attack mode for James Smith. He wants to win this, Jamie, make no mistake about it. Back on board here with Sloane Frost. You can see, he's down. Gone. Oh, well, you got a graphic example of it from our onboard camera, and poor old Chopper Frost has laid it down. It's not going to affect these guys too much, but Sloane Frost any chance he had at Hampton Downs is gone. Look at Stroud just stalking James Smith. They say if you try and outbrake Andrew Stroud, it's going to end up in trouble. And look at the ground just gobbled up between himself and Smith as he tries to stalk the Christchurch runner. Suzuki's 1, 2 and 3 here at Hampton Downs. Race 1 of the Superbikes. Final round of the championship. The titles, the trophy and the prize money doled out after this.
Stroud is working over Smith down into turn number 1. Just looking at the lap times, Phil, and there's not a lot of difference between the 600s and the Supers at the moment. Nick Cole was quickest in the last one as Frost gets back up on the number 6 bike. Cole was quickest at a 106.2. These guys are in the high 105s at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably throttle control. As I said before, in the 600s, when the bikes get light, they tend to get sideways. And you've got around about 180, 190 horsepower at the back wheel, and the bike gets light coming over the brows. It's a brave man that twists the throttle. That's what James Smith is doing. And once again, just like Valentino Rossi does in MotoGP, James Smith puts his foot out. I think he might have been a motocrosser in the previous life.
Great to watch, isn't it? As Andrew Stroud and Bugden side by side. Bugden's going to try and do the crossover.
Andrew Stroud just holds him out for a little while longer. The Hamiltonian racing well. Arguably New Zealand's most accomplished overseas rider of the current bunch, Hamilton's Andrew Stroud will try for the New Zealand Superbike title number 8 here at the final round. Playing second fiddle to Australian Robbie Bugden for the last 3 years, the father of 7's time to win again is now due. Stroud still working on James Smith as they head down into turn 1 once again.
He is so good out of 1 again. He's going to get this run down into 2, and that's where he picked off Bugden.
He's got it. The brother Suzuki rider goes into the front. The Triple R Mack Truck Suzuki teammates, 2nd and 3rd.
And that's what I said about turn 1. There's 2 different lines. There's probably actually 3, but you've got a passing line and a fast line, and Stroud's really got that passing line working to his advantage.
Well, if you've watched our Superbike coverage over the last few years, you know the battles between Stroud and Bugden is legendary, and Bugden's not going to give this up without a fight. I don't know if there's an Australian that doesn't fight. Boy, this guy from Queensland is. He's passed his teammate now. So James Smith's gone from 1st to 3rd. Bugden's gone up into 2nd. Now he's in hot pursuit of a very rampant Andrew Stroud.
Well, Bugden's just gone quickest at a 65.907. That's an average lap speed of 152 kilometres an hour. And that's similar speed to a Formula 5000, the likes of Kenny Smith around here. But you compare those times to a Toyota Racing Series car. They're doing 61s, but even so, that's impressive on 2 wheels.
What's even more impressive, we told you 275 clicks on a 600. Try 290 kilometres an hour over the top past the start-finish line here at Hampton Downs.
Phil, I'm going to say one thing and one thing only. These boys are not wide upright.
I think you're right. I think you're right for sure. This battle here, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Just got a brief look there at Hayden Fitzgerald, 2nd of the Castrol Honda runners. I told you that Craig Sheriff's had a crash. He's well down at the moment. He's got a bit of work to do. There he is there, just in behind him. Another one of the veteran of the Superbike Wars. That's Kumu's Ray Klee. This battle at the moment for 6th and 7th place. Unaccustomed to seeing Craig there, but as I said, he had those 2 bad crashes. And coming off a storming round at the Pyro Battle of the Streets and also at the Manfield round, the penultimate round. So he'll be in a world of hurt, both physically and mentally. Remember, he's in that battle for 3rd place with James Smith, and James Smith at the moment further up the racetrack. Plenty more racing still to come here at Hampton Downs. It's the final of the New Zealand Road Racing Championships. Welcome back to Hampton Downs for the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships. We're down to the business end in the Superbikes. It's 1 to go, and there's less than 2 seconds between these two. There's Robbie Bugden fighting hard in 2nd, but it's the brother Suzuki pilot. There he is, Andrew Stroud, 7 times a national champion in the Superbikes. Will he make it 8 here today?
Well, he's just set a new track record. He's gone a 10th quicker than Robbie Bugden, a 65.883. For Stroud. He's picking up the front wheel. He's starting to have some fun.
Well, I think he is. I think he knows he's done enough because he had a good buffer going in and he really didn't need to win this race. He's done that and he's done it in fine style. So I think he's wrapped up title number 8. Big wheelie up the hill for Andrew Stroud.
Well, he had a 43-point lead going into this race. He only needs to leave this race with a 25-point lead. He's got the advantage over Bugden. He's going to do it here in the first race.
Up the hill for the last time, Andrew Stroud out of Hamilton on the brother Suzuki is going to claim victory in race 1 of 2 in the Superbike. 2nd place will be Robbie Bugden, and in 3rd place it'll be James Smith. 4th place will go to Hayden Fitzgerald on the Honda, and in 5th place, the blast from the past, that's Tony Rees. 6th place went to Ryan Hampton, and in 7th, Craig Sheriffs.
8 national superbike titles. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's great. It's always great to win a championship. But really, I just love the racing and I love the competition and being on the limit and just pushing myself to the max. That's where I get the enjoyment from, and championship's a bonus.
We've done our best, but unfortunately Andrew had a little bit more than us that race. But this next one for the TT, I'll be giving it some.
You must know that you can do it because you out-qualified Andrew yesterday.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's no reason why we can't, and I think this next one's going to be a little bit longer too, which may suit us. So, you know, we'll just go out there, we'll give it our all, and we'll see where we come in.
There was a bit of an oil spill from the race before us, and I think they put a bit of dust on there, and it was still quite a bit of dust on the track, and just trying to make a move up the inside, and lost the front, unfortunately.
Welcome back to Hampton Downs for the final of the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championship. Now, there's an argument that goes on yearly in motorcycling circles, and the argument goes something like this. What is the most prestigious title to win? Is it the national title? Is it the Grand Prix title? Or is it this, the TT title? Well, some say it's a TT title. We'll find out, because it's Glenn Scatchell out on the front in the 600s. Nick Cole shadows him.
There's a few elbows and legs up and behind those guys. There was a fair bit going on through turn number 2. Of course, the New Zealand Grand Prix raced at the opening round of the championship at Powerbuilt Tools International Raceway in Christchurch.
That's right. I'm pretty sure Nick Cole had a big moment there, but he managed to somehow save it on the Kawasaki. I was just going to say that I think Motorcycling New Zealand does the right thing by bookending each end of the season with prestigious titles. It certainly keeps the racing close, and we got that here in the 600. Once again, Midge Smart, there he is, bike number 53. He's going to play a part in this one. So too number 4, Dennis Charlotte. But out in the front, well, is he going to stay there? Glenn Scatchell, he was absolutely gutted. I tried to talk to him after the first 600 sports production race. He wouldn't talk to us after his crash. Not gutted for himself, but more gutted for his good mate James Smith, because really he's plucked first out of the clutches of James Smith with that accident in turn 1.
Well, effectively, Nick Cole gained 25 points because James was a DNF in that first race, and there was only, 2.5 points between them going into the final round.
That's right, it's as close as you like, and when you take into consideration, we mentioned it before, the protest committee is yet to meet over the incident at Manfield. It was deemed that allegedly James Smith jumped the start. The team have protested that, so it looks like this result might be open-ended for a little while yet.
Mitch Smart having a good run here early. He's got by Cole into the second position.
Well, Smart's a very good rider. As I said before, he came to New Zealand's attention on a 125 a few years ago, but now living in Taranaki, he's done a limited program here at the championships. He tells me next year it's all or nothing. He wants that number 1 plate. I tell you what, Scatchell's getting away here. You often see that, don't you, in motorsport, when the second and third are dicing. Glenn Scatchell and the Museum Hotel Suzuki just starting to pull away a little bit.
Just watching Midge Smart down there through the final corner here. The rear of the bike stepped out under acceleration. Good run up the hill there, and he actually extends over Nick Cole there. Being the longest race of the weekend at 20 laps, just maybe changing the setup for the bikes to come on a little bit later on.
Well, I know there was a lot of change in the Superbike pits and the break between races, and I'm sure there would have been also in the 600 pits as well. That's number 2 there, James Smith. Well, the fight's gone out of James Smith, hasn't it, on the RRR Suzuki Mack Trucks team. He thought he had first wrapped up, didn't he? But it all went wrong in the first race, and now he's just lingering at the back of the field.
Well, Phil, it's continuing to go wrong. I don't know if he knows about it yet, but he's been assessed for a jump start, and that carries a 20-second penalty. He's not alone because the 94 of Dave Manuel in the same boat. So a shocking weekend for Smith continues.
Oh, well, they say when it rains, it pours. It's not raining on Glenn Scatchell at the moment. There is Dave Manuel, number 94. I think he's put together a great series of rides. He certainly was a standout at Pyro, at the Yamaha Battle of the Streets, and then he went well in Manfield as well. And he's going good on what is basically now his home track. For years and years and years, we've gone to Pukekohe Park Raceway. But someone said, why don't we try Tony Roberts' track? And what a great decision that was. The crowds are up. The racing's sensational, as you see there. They're battling for 6th and 7th like it's a world championship.
Both of those riders carrying a 20-second penalty. Now, with car racing, the majority of the teams have radios from the teams. So if they get told they've got a penalty, they can talk to their drivers. How do these guys find out? Is it just a board on the pit wall?
Well, that's right, and you'll see it as they come up over the front straight. The mechanic will hang out the board, and it'll tell them either good news or bad news. Normally it'll tell them what lap they're on or what lap they've got to go and the time gaps. Just watching John Ross there on the Hampton Honda supported Yamaha. Great camaraderie in the South Island. John couldn't get up and do the North Island rounds, but Hampton Honda came to the party and said, listen, you travel up with us, we'll make it a party while we're here.
So good close battles right through the field. In the case of Smith at this stage of the weekend, does the team even bother telling him he's got a 20-second penalty?
Well, I would say he's probably got a fair bit running through his mind at the moment. He's in that close battle for third place, the last step on the podium in the Superbikes. I think now he's going through the motions and someone else is gone. Oh, he waves to the crowd. What about that?
Jay Lawrence.
Well, unfortunately for Jay, he's no stranger to crashing. But poor old Jay's done it again. He's on his R6 Yamaha. In the Formula 3 races, he races a Haisong, which is a Korean motorcycle we haven't seen too much of racing around New Zealand. But that was on his R6, and he's come to grief. But this time, thankfully, Jay's in one piece.
How was the style points with the wave?
Well, as I said, unfortunately, Jay's done that a few times. He coming off a nasty injury at last year's Ruapuna rounds. Taken him a long time to get right. There is number 5. There's Nick Cole. He's on the Kawasaki. He's sitting in second place. Behind him is Midge Smart on the Yamaha. There he is, bike number 53. And out in the front, it's Glenn Scatchell. So there is Scatchell, bike number 47, the Museum Hotel sponsored Suzuki GSXR 600cc machine. Made the move up from Formula 3 to 600s this year, and it's been a good one for him. Plenty more racing to come in the TT for the 600 Sports Productions right after the break. Welcome back to Hampton Downs for the Castrol Power 1 New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships for 2010. We are watching an enthralling battle here. James Smith and number 9, and that is John Ross. James Smith from Christchurch, John Ross from Southland.
James unfortunately carrying a 20-second penalty for a jump start at the beginning of this race, the New Zealand TT for the 600 Sports Productions.
That battle on your screen is at the moment for 5th and 6th place. Up and over the top they come, as I said before, 275 kilometres an hour, blind over the brow and then hard on the brakes down through the gearbox for this difficult off-camber corner. You can hear the 600s protesting as they go down through the gearbox. Ross and Smith, well, they probably grew up together racing. And behind them, Dennis Charlotte, there's Sam Love as well. Love on the Yamaha this season, raced on an SV650 Suzuki last year in the Pro Twins class. Dennis Charlotte back on his customary Suzuki, bike number 4. As you heard Jamie say, past 600 Sports Production Champion of New Zealand, raced extensively in Australia.
So this is the battle on track for the 6th and 7th spots, but they'll both look to gain with a 20-second penalty for Smith just up ahead.
Great camera shots here from this amazing circuit at Hampton Downs. It is the final round of 5. We kicked it off at Ruapuna. That was the New Zealand Grand Prix title. This is the final round at Hampton Downs, and this is the TT.
How good is this track going to be, Phil, when they extend the back straight?
Well, that's what everyone was talking about, Jamie. Everyone was raving about it. The bike guys said that it was the best track they've ever raced on, and then Tony Roberts came up to them and said, well, we're going to extend it. We're going to make it even better.
And they're not the only ones looking forward to that. This wonderful new complex at Hampton Downs. Nick Cole just stepping the back of the bike out under brakes.
And he's chasing this man. This is Glenn Scatchell from Wellington. As I said, he rode Formula 3 last year, and he came to prominence with a devastating performance at the last round at Pukekohe. He was riding an Aussie Performance Suzuki. Under Formula 3 rules, you can't have a multi-cylinder engine bigger than 400cc. So what they did, they effectively took the spark plug, took all the crank material, conrod piston out of the 4-cylinder Suzuki 600, which effectively made it a 400. So then it complied with the rules. Still fast, still able to handle well. Plenty of aftermarket suspension bits for it as well. And it was a winning combination for Scatchell. Now he's on the Museum Hotel sponsored Aussie Performance Suzuki in the 600 class, and he's already into the lap traffic here in the TT. This is going to be a significant win for this young man.
Well, even more significant, he's the only one, certainly in the top flight, on Continental tyres, with the majority of the rest of the field on Dunlops.
Well, that's right. There's always a tyre war in motorcycling, well, I guess in any form of motorsport. But Continental, they're the new boys on the block, really.
This is the last lap, Phil.
So it is number 47, Scatchell. 158, Phil Endine is spared the ignominy of the lapping, and Scatchell's happy, punches the air. In second place it will be Nick Cole, and in third place it'll be Yamaha's Midge Smart. Fourth place will go to Carl Morgan. He redeems himself after a crash in race number 1, and in fifth it's John Ross on the Yamaha. Sixth place is the veteran Dennis Charlotte.
the track's covered in oil from the sidecar spill earlier, and it must have been affecting the other guys a lot more than it was for me. The Conti race attacks just straight over them, no worries. I could just gas it up and the Chevy hooked up and drove awesome. Like the whole weekend, you know, the Museum Hotel Suzuki's been working fantastic. You know, I dare say if we didn't have that mishap in the first race, we would have been dicing for the lead. So it's racing, you know. I can't help but say sorry to Jimmy, and you know, deep down in my heart, that was a big mistake on my half, and it's really cost him. So big sorry, but happy to bring home the TT.
Well, he's a happy man in the Museum Hotel pits, but there's a happier man in the Kawasaki pits, and that's Hamilton's Nick Cole, because he has taken his first national title on 187.5 points. James Smith will be second on 147 again, and John Ross will be third on 140. Fourth place will be Carl Morgan. So we're into the last race of the day. This is the Superbikes, this is the TT, and the last chance, Jamie, for Robbie Bugden to, well, recover a bit of pride here at Hampton Downs.
Well, you heard him talk about it in the interview after the first race. He wanted to put it all on the line here to try and win the final race of the championship and the series.
And once again, we're riding on board there with Sloane Frost. I think just going across him there was Ryan Hampton on the privateer Honda. This is what's happening at the front of the field. James Smith, he's got lightning starts all day. He's leading them.
Sloane Frost will not want to repeat the effort in race number 1 where he put the bike down, and he alluded to the fact that there was a lot of oil and debris on the racetrack from some blow-ups over the weekend from other classes. You can just see how much oil dry is around the motor racing circuit.
Well, we had a huge explosion of the Yamaha engine in Pete the Pirate's sidecar, and unfortunately he didn't know that it had gone. It actually burst into flames. There was quite a delay between that incident and this race, so these guys have gone out and done a couple of extra precautionary laps just to see that there's not too much oil about. Now they've decided they're good to go, but there is a lot of oil dry, as you mentioned.
Smith is the race leader here, chased by Bugden. So keep an eye on Andrew Stroud, the new and 8-time New Zealand Superbike champion.
Well, I wouldn't look for Andrew in the first lap because notoriously he hasn't had good starts most of the season, but he'll be there or thereabouts. 61 is Hayden Fitzgerald. For the first time this season, he's leading his teammate pretty comprehensively. Craig Sheriffs, remember, riding injured, but he's in a battle with James Smith. That's Smith in the 77 for third, the last step on the podium. So you can guarantee if those two get together, there'll be some fireworks.
Stroud was in that group with Fitzgerald. There he is there. He's back up into the 4th position. So not a great start for Stroudy, but as you alluded to, Phil, he's not the world's greatest starter, but come the end of the race, watch out, he will be there.
And Jamie, did you see who else was in that group? Bike number 11, his old racing number, Tony Rees, past New Zealand Superbike road racing champion. There he is on the bog stock R1 Yamaha. They've taken the headlight out of it since the Pyro Battle of the Streets, but it is completely stock standard. Yamaha said they needed a presence in the Superbikes, and they called on the veteran, Tony Rees. There he is, number 11, just in behind Craig Sheriffs at the moment.
Yeah, Sheriffs ailing with a couple of offs during the weekend, but he's got a good run here early in the race for the TT. Again, over 20 laps, the longest race distance of the weekend.
Look at this, the Suzuki, the meat and the sandwich of the Hondas of Fitzgerald and Sheriffs. You just get the feeling that Andrew Stroud just waiting to pounce. He dives to the inside. Will he try and drive up the inside and then hold it tight round turn 1? Can't do it this time round.
That's a great shot up over the top of the hill. Those things are flying on the front straight here at Hampton Downs.
And I know we've mentioned it a few times, but we can't reiterate it enough. It's blind going over there at nearly 300 kilometres an hour. You're not too sure. I talked to Craig before the racing, and he said what caught him out was he came over the top and he just saw concrete wall. He didn't see any of the gravel trap. He didn't see any of the corner, and he thought, gee, I better haul this thing down. And unfortunately, it high-sided and spat him off in a big way.
Well, he hasn't been the only one. There's been a few car classes having the same issues, and it comes down to the drag race to the line at the end of the race. And because this start-finish line is so far down the track, you do the big last gasp effort and forget to brake and go off into the kiddie litter, and there's been some fairly significant accidents so far since the debut of this new motor racing circuit.
Yeah, well, all the guys were warned by Chris Costello at the riders' briefing about that very fact. They said, don't do a last gasp pass, don't do a do or die, because you might come unstuck. There is Tony Rees. Great to see Tony back. Him and his wife Vicky do such a lot for motorcycling. Their son Mitchell races motocross. Their other son wants to race road racing. So Tony's got a whole lot more motorcycling in his future. Of course, he runs a motorcycle shop. Stroud's got up the inside of Hayden Fitzgerald. And Hayden Fitzgerald's towing his teammate Craig Sheriffs with him. So slowly but surely, Craig, the veteran from fielding, he's starting to get toward the front of this field. but so too is that man, the 8-time New Zealand champion now.
Stroud is so good out of turn number 1 on the run to 2. Just about every one of his passes has been down that part of the course. So once he gets to the likes of Smith and Bugden, watch for that part of the track to come into fruition as the 2 Honda teammates go at it out of the hairpin.
One thing that anybody that knows a little bit about motorcycling will tell you about Andrew Stroud is he is super, super smooth. He never gets ruffled. 9 times out of 10 we've seen him arrive late at the start of meetings because he's been so relaxed he's been asleep in the back of his van. That's how unaffected he is by nerves, but when he's on the bike that just transfers into fast, smooth motion. Back on board here with Sloane Frost coming up the front straight. There are the apartment buildings, so across the start-finish line. Now it's hard on the brakes, down through the gearbox. Oh, and Frosty's run it a little bit wide there. And that's allowed Tony Rees to slip up the inside of him. So the veteran picks up another spot. Let's just see what it takes to get around Hampton Downs here. You're riding with Sloane Frost on the big Suzuki. Just listen to the way he just rolls on the throttle. You don't snap the throttle open on these things. 61, Hayden Fitzgerald. Tony Rees wants to come back at him, and Sloane Frost has run it wide again, and Rees will come back. Drives it down the inside. Has he got the power to do it? Yes, he has. Are we going to see Rees slip up the inside here? It's so close. Terminal velocity, 290 kilometres an hour. Past the stripe. That's a lap at Hampton Downs, this amazing circuit. Come back after the break and see what's going to happen in the TT, the final stanza of the Superbike Championships. Welcome back to Hampton Downs. We're in the middle of the TT for the Superbikes. There is number 11. This is Tony Rees. He's in the Open Sports Production Superbike Championship, if you like. You're back on board here with Sloane Chopper Frost on the Suzuki.
So this battle group here, Phil, is for 5th, 6th and 7th.
Well, you're getting a graphic look at it from the ambient here, Suzuki of Sloane Frost.
You see the front wheel come up out of the previous turn to the hairpin.
Yeah, well, 190 horsepower, not too much weight. And remember, these are essentially road-going machines. Really, all they do is they change the fairings, they do a little bit of tweaking to the motor under the rules, but there's not much you can do. So you can expect this sort of performance on the road, which is scary. 77, James Smith, just starting to fall back through the field a little bit.
Well, he's back into the clutches of Craig Sheriffs, who's on the move, so that's 3rd and 4th.
He had a look. They know what's at stake here. 3rd place, last step on the podium. Sheriffs drives up the inside on the Castrol Honda, goes through. Can Smith do anything about it?
How many looks did he have? Had about 4 goes at seeing Craig Sheriffs on the way past.
Now, remembering that Craig Sheriffs is driving or riding injured. He's got problems with his left foot. James Smith, well, psychologically, he'd be a bit down. He lost any chance of the title in the 600 class. Now he's in a fight, and it's a real dogfight for 3rd. And Sheriff's just starting to get away a little bit here.
Just up ahead, Andrew Stroud's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 64.6. He's just smashed his lap record he set in the first race, and he's the only rider in the 64-second bracket.
Well, once he found clear traffic, he was gone, wasn't he? And once again, we talk about a tyre war. We've got a tyre war unfolding in front of your very eyes. 77, James Smith from Christchurch. Bit of a tyre war, as we said. Dunlop's for Smith, Pirelli's for Craig Sheriff. The battle for 3rd in the championship, the battle for 3rd on the racetrack. This is the man leading, number 1, Robbie Bugden, just picking his way through some of the lap traffic. Kenneth Christensen gets put a lap down on the 750 Suzuki. Bugden on the 1000, remember. He's a teammate of James Smith. Red Fenton, very happy with the performances of Robbie Bugden. They've had some mechanical issues this season, but there's nothing you can really do about that.
Well, can he do anything about Andrew Stroud? Because Stroudy is on the hunt in the number 2, the new number 1.
That's right, it's Brother Suzuki versus Triple R Suzuki. Both of them get lots of support from Suzuki, and you see the slightly different lines, and I think Stroud's got a run on him here. He has.
Oh, huge run. Bugden looked like he got a little bit out of shape out of the hairpin.
Well, I thought that. I thought he was going to look over and say, after you, Andrew, but that's not the way we've seen from Robbie Bugden. You don't win 3 Superbike titles by doing that sort of thing. Now he's back onto the program.
Right now he's got 4 tenths in outright lap speed on Bugden. Bugden has not got into the 64-second bracket.
Geez, you know, don't you, when you get caught and passed, you know the guy that passed is going a whole lot quicker, and that's the story with Andrew Stroud. He can't put a foot wrong.
Well, the lap record he just smashed, he did a 65.8 in race 1. He's just done a 64.6, 1.2 seconds quicker than his fastest lap from race 1.
I asked him before the racing started what was the difference this season. He said, well, I'm older, he's 42 now. He said, I'm doing it for the old blokes. He said, we've changed our Pirelli tyres, we've got a different tyre on the back of the bike, I'm more at home with that. Plus, he said he just thought he wouldn't let Robbie have 4 titles, and that's exactly as it's panned out. Bugden, 3 times the New Zealand champion, going to be content with second this time round.
Well, Andrew Stroud's, he was the 7-time champ. He's got 7 kids, he's now won 8. What does that mean for the future?
Well, he actually said, and I hope it was tongue-in-cheek, I feel for his wife Karen, that he said maybe an 8th child as a celebration. We'll wait and see.
God forbid if he wins 10.
Well, he said before that he'd like 10 children, so you never know. He said he's got no intentions of retiring. All the media asked him, is that it? Is 8 good enough? And he said, no. He said, I love racing, I want to keep going. And that's what he's doing here in the TT as the laps wind down. Stroud in the front, Bugden in second. That enthralling battle for third. Sheriffs and Smith. North Island versus South Island. Honda versus Suzuki. Who's it going to be?
Stroud, ever smooth. 2 very different lines there through the hairpin. As you said, Phil, Bugden wheels up out of the hairpin.
And just wondering if he's starting to put on him here, Jamie.
Just wondering if Bugden's maybe not getting into some tyre troubles.
Well, the other thing you've got to listen for, and you'll hear it as they come up over the front straight now, Bugden's big Suzuki's right on the rev limiter. I asked him before, did he change the gearing between races? He said they've done lots of changes. They've changed the fork settings. They've changed the rear tyre, all in an effort to keep this man behind him. None of it's worked.
Pretty much identical bikes, but it all comes down to setup, and Stroud does look a lot more comfortable out there on the racetrack right now.
Well, he certainly does, and you can owe a lot of that to Ray Clee. Ray Clee builds his engines. Ray in this field, of course, back down in 8th place at the moment. Andrew has a look behind. It's not often you see Andrew Stroud do that either.
Well, he's just seen the last lap ball. He is on his last lap. He's won his 8th New Zealand Superbike Championship, looking for another TT. I'm not even going to try and count those.
Well, yeah, there's a few of them. There's a few of them for the man from Hamilton originally, then he went to Christchurch, and he came up to Auckland, then he's back in Hamilton. And he's an 8-time New Zealand title holder on the Superbikes. And he's going to win the TT as well unless something happens, and I don't think that's going to happen. The brother Suzuki's been more than reliable all season long, and he's ridden the wheels off it. Bugden, well, he's going to come up 1 short in the title and in the TT. He's going to finish second. And what's going to happen in third? Is it going to be Sheriffs or is it going to be Smith? I'd love to see what's going on for third place at the moment.
Wheel stand and celebration for Andrew Stroud. He takes the TT.
Robbie Bugden will finish in second place. And oh, is this the outcome for third? Craig Sheriffs and also James Smith both have come down. Sheriffs can't believe it, but I think he knows he's done enough. I think he's pipped James Smith for the last step on the podium. And that's the way the judges saw it as well. So Andrew Stroud gets the win in the all-important TT. Robbie Bugden is second. Craig Sheriffs finished third, and that clinches him the final step on the podium for the national title.
It's been a fantastic season. It's great having Robbie here as well. Really appreciate it. The last 4 years or so, it's made the racing super intense and really lifted it up a level for me, especially. I've had to really, dig within myself a bit to find it, and then, it's good when it's there.
I guess it's tough to relinquish the #1 plate after 3 years.
Yeah, it is though, but like I say, Stroudy's been riding awesome all this year. You know what I mean? He's been consistent, which is one thing we haven't been, and he's just wanted that a little bit more. So, full congratulations to him. He deserves it, and he's a good guy. If I was going to pass it to anyone, I suppose it's going to have to be him.
Just basically a big drag race up to the start-finish line, but unfortunately on a Superbike the braking is quite a bit before the start-finish line, but I don't think anyone wanted to shut off, so it was the last race of the season. Thought, oh well, the bike's, it can be fixed, so I just held it on, and he did the same, and I think he just pipped me, and we both ended up in the dirt, but it was quite funny really.
We both won at third, like whoever got third in the race got third in the championship as well, so it was do or die basically, and yeah, I was so excited when it got across the line, and then I realised I'm not going to stop, and then I thought, I'll probably fall off and hit the fence and get hurt or something crazy, but Just sort of fell off in the sand, and it was good. I'm very
Is that the hardest fourth, third place you've had?
Oh, it's probably the hardest bloody race I've ever had, I think.
So in the final points, it is Andrew Stroud on 228, Robbie Bugden from Australia on 175. But look at the gap for third and fourth. Craig Sheriff's 139, James Smith just 2 points shy on 137.
Right next door to Hampton Downs is the Meremere drag strip, and in 2009 it played host to the NZDRA Northern Nationals.
Strap yourself in and hang on! This is NZDRA Drag Racing, the Century UASA Power Series, and round one of the summer season begins with the Fram Autolite Northern National. Here we are at Fram Autolite Raceway, race day of round one of the Century UASA Power Series. This is action day. Of course, the top division, the Group 1 cars, Castrol Edge Top Alcohol. Their great performance yesterday from John Neeling, running a 588 at 240 miles an hour. John Neeling doesn't have a number one on his car. Chris Johnson has the latest number one on his car. And Todd Vincent, well, they have 3 number ones on their car. So that's what he's up against. If we move into the top door slammer division, down on numbers a little bit this season, so again it is going to be tightly contested with the likes of Ross Taylor in the 57 Chevy, Bobby Owens in the Falcon Coupe, and Mike Woodaveen had a very good season last year in the Ferrari, made a couple of finals.
I don't really think that today we may not see the car with the most horsepower win this meeting. We're going to see a car that's got consistency. The likes of Woodaveen and Bobby Owens in the Falcon have got as equal chance as any of taking away top door slammer.
I think, Gavin, it'll be cloudy, but final day. So come on, Gavin, let's go racing. Important part of drag racing is the start line and track conditions. As you can see, the temperature 95 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit below optimum. Ideally would be around about the 100 degrees, but still it is a good racetrack as we go into round one of Top Alcohol.
We've had a little bit of a build-up to the beginning of this season, which is fantastic because we don't normally get that. So it's starting to show now. First run off the trailer, 588, 240 mile an hour. You've got to look at the track. That's your biggest one. You've got to try and dial that in. If you can dial the track in appropriately, then you're going to go fast.
Round one of elimination sees Dave Gould, the bottom qualifier, up against this man, number one qualifier, the fastest man, John Neeling. He ran a 588 with a 6 yesterday. He's got horsepower. Dave Gould having trouble getting the car down the racetrack. John Neeling is going to set a good time, a 588, 240 miles an hour.
Yeah, no, second gear's pretty interesting. Yeah. It sort of pulls really, really hard in the middle of the track, and it's a whole lot of fun in the middle of the track.
The defending New Zealand number one, Chris Johnson, the man they all want to beat. He'll be feeling the pressure right now. Fresh new engine for the season, but he's just seen John Neeling set a record pace.
Our engines are based on a big block Chevrolet, and it's just got a 1471 high helix supercharger on it with methanol injection. At the end of the day, it's consistency that'll win you a championship like we won last year. We weren't the quickest, but it's consistency that gets you there, and that's what we're aiming for again this year.
Chris Johnson's opponent for round one of eliminations is Shane Lodge. He won this meeting last year. Has he got what it takes to beat Chris Johnson? No, he's got problems. Severe tyre shake on the start. You see the chutes drop out. He rattled those tyres very hard. An easy win for Chris Johnson, 615 at 223 miles an hour. And that's the end of the day for Shane Lodge and the team. Shane's opponent in last year's final was this man, Maurice McMillan.
We ended up running quickest of 673 at 211, so hopefully today we can get out there and back up a national record for it. We're starting to find a tune-up for it, so hopefully within the next couple of meetings we can really get into it and start doing some numbers.
Maurice's opponent for round one of eliminations is Todd Vincent. Last season he was 1 win away from being New Zealand's youngest top alcohol champion when he destroyed that engine.
There's quite a few changes to the car. There's a bigger blower, more powerful blower. a new fuel and ignition system as well. It's just still a little bit unknown to us, this combination, so we're just going to try and go out there. We've got our fingers crossed. We think it's going to work, so we're going to hold our fingers crossed and hope it runs a low 6 and gets us the round win.
The 3 number 1s on the side of that car are Dad's Mark Vincent. It is now time for Todd Vincent to earn his first number 1. He gets a good start, and it is side by side Morris McMillan and Todd Vincent at half track. There is nothing in it. And now the boost from that new engine coming in for Todd Vincent, and he will take the win. It is a PB for Morris McMillan with a 6.6. But the win, 6.33, 2.15 for Todd Vincent. Round 1 of eliminations in Top Door Slammer. As the name would suggest, they are full-body cars, loosely recognisable, purpose-built race cars, but they do have opening and closing doors. Defending New Zealand number 1 Ross Taylor is looking to continue his winning success from last season. A good solid burnout from the 57 Chevy, and he's backing it up into their start line, but that is a problem for Ross Taylor. That is oil on the track. That oil is coming out of his race car. He will shut it down, and he will be looking where it's coming from. It's a cruel sport, drag racing. All that preparation for 6 seconds is over for Ross.
Yeah, it's a bit psyched, but just take it as comes, another day.
A final pairing in round 1 of Top Door Slammer sees Bobby Owens in the XM Falcon up against Team Squig in an XP Falcon coupe.
Yeah, a lot of it's luck. The cars are not bulletproof and you're leaning on them so hard. Anything can go wrong, anything.
Even horsepower from both cars, so expect an exciting side-by-side drag race. The final pairing in Top Door Slammer, round number 1. Bobby Owens inching into the start line. He gets a much better start than Team Squig, who is just having trouble getting the race car down the track. And again, he's moving to the side of the track, but Bobby Owens has no problem getting it there. He's into the semi-finals with a lot of work to do once he gets past that finish line. And a winning time for Bobby Owens, 7.72 at 183 miles an hour. By qualifying number 1, Mike Woodavine earns the bye in round number 1, and he takes the Ferrari Boxer into the semis with this pass. And he will meet the father and son team of Dave and Chad Tully, who also got a bye run when we saw Ross Taylor have to pull out. Semi-final and final action in Top Door Slammer and Top Alcohol still to come, so let's move into BHT Super Sedan.
I'm the current champion. It's down to the driver, whoever wins. It's a dial-your-own class, so the car's going to perform pretty much the same every time, but it's down to the driver who can actually pick the best ET for their vehicle.
Early round wins sees this pairing, John McGinty up against Mark Hudson in a very, very tight semi-final. John McGinty, he won the number 1 last season in the final round of the National Series. Mark Hudson will keep him very honest. He's a very consistent DYO racer, and that's what you need to be to win in Super Sedan. As you can see from the shots, it is very, very close all the way down the racetrack. Side by side, in fact, at the finish line, but Mark Hudson has lost the race by breaking out. John McGinty gets the win. If your elapsed time, or ET, is lower than your dial-in time, you break out and lose. Meeting John McGinty in the final of Super Sedan will be the winner of this pairing. In dial-your-own racing, the racer nominates the time they expect their vehicle to do. There will be a handicap on the start line tree of 1.8 seconds between this pair, so it looks like James Hone is napping on the light, but he is the quicker car and he will catch Stephen Howe at the finish line if he is to win the race. Very tight at the stripe. James Hone is not going to catch Stephen Howe. He will go into the final with an 11.16 on a 10.99 dial-in. BHT Super Sedan final sees John McGinty in the F100 pickup against the Tirana of Stephen Howe. Stephen Howe has been a little bit off the pace, but he's done enough to win all the rounds and get into this final. John McGinty, he is very much on the money. He will run a quicker time, so he will be chasing Stephen Howe. You will see a handicap start. And that is the margin that John McGinty has to catch up. He has bigger horsepower, and that is the compensation of DYO Racing. He drives right around Stephen Howe and is first to the finish line and puts the F100 in the winner's circle with a winning time of 9.81. John McGinty is a VHT Super Sedan champion at the Fram Autolite Northern Nationals. The competition bracket is made up of dragsters and alters. finishing last season as Australasia's quickest, normally aspirated small block Ford dragster. But problems for Anthony Marsh and the team. They cannot get the Marsh Motorsport dragster turning over. Robbie Ward into the semi-finals. The engine that he ran in the 280Z Datsun last year in a dragster.
We decided to build something that was more purpose-built, that would be hopefully faster and definitely safer. It looks like once we can get a full run in without having to back off or something happening, it should run into the sevens, on about 17 to 20 pounds a boost, I'd say.
First full meeting in competition for Robbie Ward and the team in the front engine dragster, and this semi-final up against Ian Boyd in an alternative combination, a 202 Holden in his altered. But the turbo's kicking in for Robbie Ward, and he makes it look very easy with a 921, and we've got a lot more to see out of that car yet. Contrast in experience on the start line for this competition eliminator final. Robbie Ward in his first season with his front engine dragster up against Trevor Watson, who has won a lot of drag races here at Fram Autolite. And problems in lane 2 for Robbie Ward. You can see it's just rolling forward. So the consistent Trevor Watson supercharged 2-litre Peugeot in that dragster runs another 9 and gives another win for Trevor Watson with a 9.70, 143 miles an hour. Sport Compact is made up of Japanese import body styles. 2 body styles within the bracket. The Pro Import car, such as this Corey Abbott, a purpose-built race car tube frame, and a more street-style car, Dean Hargraves, which is Sport Modified. Sport Modified, on the other hand, has to retain the original body and chassis. A wild ride for these cars. They are really tapped out short wheelbase.
Me and my brother, we own this car together. We both raced street cars before this. And we decided to step it up a bit, so we'll be building this with the help of Terry's Chassis Shop. 13B, twin rotor turbo, running on alcohol, and a clutchless transmission, 5-speed transmission.
Here is our Sport Compact final. Corey Abbott in the RX-7, Mazim Shalash in the RX-323. Now the Index has a handicap start. A problem on the start line, and that stumble is going to cost Mazim. And you just see Corey Abbott, he's aiming for a 760 record. He runs nearly there, 788. He's got the win, and he is almost on the record. Look at that, 788, 166 mile an hour. His record, you see there, is a 764.
Super gas is a heads-up start. So, like, you're not waiting for somebody to, get halfway down the track before you do it. You start at the same time as the guy next to you. So by the time you pulled second gear and you've the G-forces are off your body, you get to have a wee look around to see how you are against your component. You don't get to do that with DYO.
Paul Hammond's semi-final was up against a big block Chevy-powered HC Viva of Todd Carter. But it is all Paul Hammond, making it look oh so easy. A bad start for Todd, and you can see Paul Hammond could button off at the finish line and still take victory. In his final, he had problems, however, and you see the winner of the National Series from the 2006-2007 season, Linda Zarodny. But Paul Hammond getting pushed off the start line, and that is oil on the start line, and something has broken in the Chrysler Dart. So a single pass for the 2006-2007 National Champion, Linda Zarodny, gets maximum points at the Fram Autolite Northern National. When we come back, it is top door slammer, top alcohol, and top street action and the Century Yuasa Power Series at the Fram Autolite Northern National. Welcome back to the Century Yuasa Power Series of drag racing.
Big block Ford, 510.
Go well.
Only Ford in the country.
This is what the crowd have come to see. Top door slammer, and despite being eliminated in an earlier race, Team Squig are taking the opportunity to get an exhibition pass on the track, and problem, you can see the wind gets under the bonnet and the Air Force just destroy that carbon fibre bonnet. Boom, and there it goes.
1972 Ferrari Boxer here, blowing alcohol, big block Chev, 3-speed Linko. Basically the tail lights. Yeah. It's really about the only thing genuine about the whole car is the tail lights.
Semi-final action in top door slammer, and we see problems for the Dave and Chad Tully team, and they're having trouble getting the Falcon started. Now Mike Witteveen is in lane 2 in the Ferrari. He had a good season and made some final appearances last season. He's going to make another one with this beautiful pass. Another 7, a 7 with a 7. Mike Witteveen is into another final at 175 miles an hour. Mike's opponent in the final is going to be this man, Mr. Consistency, Bobby Owens, who has a single pass to take his place in the final. So let's go to that final of Door Slammer. And problems in the Ferrari pit. Again, lane 1 is having trouble getting a car on the racetrack. Bobby Owens has a single pass to win the points in round 1, the Fram Autolite Northern Nationals. And he's going to push the car hard, and you can see him jumping around the track. He is not taking it easy. They used to be known as Wild Bunch cars, and that is why a win for Bobby Owens. And as he goes through the finish line, knocking it out of gear and slowing it down, an 8-1, but a win is a win, Bobby.
A hairy run there.
It looked a bit over the track, mate.
Yeah, I might have to take a bit of clutch out of the thing. Yeah, no, very happy with the day. The car's running perfect. It's me that's getting the things a little bit wrong, but we'll get there.
Fastest car doesn't always win.
Have a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Luck and change parts.
Finals time in Fast Parts Super Street. And we see the difference in body style. Super Street is another dial-your-own bracket where the racer nominates the time they expect their vehicle to do. The handicap is compensating for the differences in horsepower. Now we see Scott Campbell in the Ford Bronco. It is something he drives to work every day. But you can go drag racing in whatever you drive. And Scott Campbell has a dial-in time of 18.1. Now Darryl Robertson, much more horsepower. You probably wouldn't drive this to the dairy, but he is chasing Scott Campbell with a quicker dial-in time of 13.0. Century Batteries Modified is another dial-your-own class. This is the dial-your-own bracket for the competition style of race cars. This pairing sees Scotty Lansborough in the rear-engine dragster up against Ian Metz, Fiat Topolino-bodied Alt. As with all dial-your-own racing, it's about the driver getting it right and getting it consistent. We see a very close race between Ian Metz and Scotty Lansborough, and down to the finish line stripe, Ian Metz crosses the line first, and he will take the win with an 8.95 at 144 miles an hour. This is how the race cars used to look. This frame was built in 1965 when the engine was in front of the driver. And you can see that number 1 on the side of the car shows that it is still competitive in the brackets of racing today. Paul Sattler is the pilot in the front engine dragster known as the Vindicator. His opponent in the semi-final, the T-Bucket of Brian Hayes. The difference in dial-in times will see a big handicap, and Brian Hayes' T-Bucket will be away first. Now you see the Vindicator doing the chasing. And problems for Brian Hayes, his race is over. Paul Sattler just drives right on by, and he will take another win in the front engine dragster. You can see the smoke and oil from Brian Hayes. That Pontiac engine has gone.
It's a buzz and it's a thrill driving the car like this. I enjoy driving the car, and it gives you a really good ride. The car was built in 1965 in California, and all I've done is restored the car back to its former glory, how it was run in California, and I've upgraded it to fit in today's regulations, but primarily what you see is how it was run in 1965.
It's a 427 Chev and a 1948 Topolino. It's called an Alton, so yes, basically just a short rail with a motor in it. There's a place for everybody here. If you're a millionaire, you can go across the other side and race top door slammer, or you can be over here with the peasants.
Century Batteries Modified Final. Ian Metz in the Topolino, Paul Sattler in the front engine dragster. Now that breathing apparatus he is wearing, not only does it look period perfect, it is practical. It is a fireproof breathing apparatus. First car away in this final will be Ian Metz in the Alton. Now Paul Sattler is doing the chasing. He will be trying to drag him down. It'll be very close at the finish line if they're on the money, and it is very close. Paul Sattler by the slimmest of margins. Have a look at this. Paul Sattler, Century Batteries Modified Champion. UASA Modified Bike Finals time, and we see both on Suzuki Hayabusas, Bill Hamilton and Dean Veal. Bill Hamilton closest to camera. No traction problems there for Bill Hamilton as he lifts the front wheel, but the opposite for Dean Veal. You can see the smoke. He was just spinning that rear wheel, and it's cost him dearly. It has cost him a lot of time. Bill Hamilton, UASA Modified Bike Champion, takes the win with a 10.79 at 134 miles an hour. Again, wheels up for Bill Hamilton. Top street cars are full-bodied street cars that are allowed serious chassis mods and engine setback modification.
She's a 70 Plymouth Duster with a 505 Keith Black with B1 Pro Stock heads.
we're pulling about 1,000 horsepower, running an 832 at the quickest at the moment at 160 mile an hour. Mate, it's awesome. I wouldn't go as far as saying better than 6, but it comes bloody close. Yeah, when you stick the car in first gear and apply the trans brake, and you've got a preset in the MSD ignition, whatever revs you want to leave at. So I got mine set at 5.6. I stand on the throttle hard and leave on the button.
Sam's qualifying position has given him a bye in the semi-final, and as you can see, he's pushing the Duster as hard as ever and lifting that wheel on the start line, and he will go into that final with a solid pass of an 8.42. Well, have a look at that. Our second semi-final is those two. Friends off the track, but now they are suited up and strapped into their race cars. One of them is sending the other one home on a trailer. Wayne Grimmer is in the Plymouth Barracuda. Roger Binnema, the defending New Zealand #1, is in that supercharged, Chevy-powered Honda. A big race to start this season because points are on the line, and it is a great wheels-up start for Wayne Grimmer. But Roger Binnema, you can see he has just stepped off it. He's given the race up because he left early. Red light foul gives Wayne Grimmer a win. But have a look at the ET Wayne Grimmer, 8.27, 169.
Love the excitement, the adrenaline. It's just an addictive sport. But the car's running really well now. We're back onto our 8.29 off our first pass off the trailer yesterday, so we're really happy. I think we're #1 qualifier. It's a 1968 Barracuda, but it runs a Ray Barton built from USA 604 cubic inch Hemi. It's putting out 1,130 horsepower, normally aspirated. It goes through a 5-speed Liberty manual transmission. We've experimented with this car with the wheels up, wheels down. In actual fact, it's 60 foot faster with the wheels up. So this car just obviously likes the way it reacts, just likes it that way, so we're going to keep it that way. It's still fun. It's funny, we do have a couple more cars in the class, but they'll be here next round. But it's still a buzz, and I still love coming back.
The old foe meet in yet another final. It is Wayne Grimmer in the Plymouth Barracuda and Sam Levine in the Duster. Now, both of these races have raced a number of years. They've raced in all forms of race car. Both campaigned Altereds a few years ago, so they know how to go fast. They're very good drivers. Current record holder Wayne Grimmer, he is looking to try and get the edge on his old mate, Sam Levine. However, we've just seen Sam Levine wheels up start in his semi-final. He's not going to make it easy for Wayne Grimmer. Where's your money? Too tight to call. Wheels up from both of them. A better start from Sam Levine. He got the jump on Wayne Grimmer. Now has Wayne Grimmer got horsepower to drive around him. If he can run better than an 8.35, he'll get a record. We see the door blow off the side of Sam Levine's car. Again, we see air pressure. Just take the door right off it. But Wayne Grimmer, have a look at that. 8.31. New national record for an A-top street car. Doors off. Wheels up. It is all action in the top street final. Wayne Grimmer takes the points. Castrol Edge Top Alcohol semi-final action, and first on the track is a bye run for the #1 qualifier, the fastest man in the country at the moment, John Nealon in the Digger Dragster. It is a single pass, but you will notice the crew go about their procedure in exactly the same way as if there was a race car alongside them. John Nealon has run 580s all weekend. He has gone fractionally quicker each time, and he does it again, even quicker, a 584 in the semi-final. And look at that mile an hour, 242 miles an hour. Plenty of pressure in the second Castrol Edge Top Alcohol semi-final. They have to get into the final. They have just seen John Nealon set the pace. But first, they've got to beat the guy in the lane alongside them. And those racers with the job to do at the moment is Todd Vincent in the Vincent family dragster and Chris Johnson in the Harcourts Vernon and Vasey dragster. First of all, they must win their semi-final. They'll be looking at the data they get from this race to see if they can beat John Nealon in the final. Who's it going to be? Chris Johnson or Todd Vincent? It is tied off the line. Chris Johnson with the jump. Chris Johnson has the horsepower. Chris Johnson all the way and into the final of Castrol Edge Top Alcohol. Chris Johnson doing all the right things, chipping away at his ET 608 at 225 miles an hour. Has he got the tune-up to win the final? Let's have a look. Castrol Edge Top Alcohol is the premier division in New Zealand drag racing. It is all about horsepower. It is all about speed. No handicaps, no breakouts. Fastest car wins, first one to the finish line is the champion. You can see the drivers, full concentration on their face as they go about their start line burnout procedures. They know the team has got the best tune-up that they think is going to win this meeting. They can't do anything about it now. They can't change it. They have to focus on their job to do. And here we go as the cars are inching into stage. The very important start, they're away. An equal start reaction time, nothing between them. But it is the horsepower of the digger dragster. John Nealon storms away with a new national record. John Nealon, 5.76 seconds, 242 mile an hour.
No, that was a pretty good pass. Good end to a good day. I haven't even seen the time slip yet, but the way everybody's reacting, I've seen it something, but I'll figure it out later on. We're happy today, brilliant day.
That completes racing today here at Fram Autolite Dragway, round one of the Century Yuasa Power Series. Congratulations to all the winners, but clearly the highlight had to be John Nealon. Round two is the QMU Hot Rod and Classic Car Festival meeting at Taupo International Raceway on January 4th. This has been NZDR Drag Racing and the Century Yuasa Power Series.
To finish this week, it's back in time for the 2007 Rally Extreme round from the Hawke's Bay.
Round 3 of the North Island Rally Extreme Challenge was the Timona Warehousing Rally of Hawke's Bay. Festivities started at night at the Art Deco capital of the world, Napier. We took a chance to catch up with the leading challengers in the Extreme Series.
It'd be nice to keep holding first place, but the points are run a little bit differently. You come to a shootout situation in Rally Extreme, and well, we're leading it now, but we'll see. We hopefully qualify, and then Nelson and Pai here will tell, and hopefully we're used to the car by then, and then pedal to the metal then.
We did really well at Whangarei. Had a bit of bad luck at Wairarapa, a bit of suspension damage. So our times have been good and consistent. So we're just looking to repeat that down here in Napier. First time down here, so it'll be exciting anyway. But we'll go hard.
It's come down here primarily armed for a wet rally with sort of mud tyres, thinking that it could be that. Not to say I haven't got tyres that'll suit the dry, but yeah, it may be, if we're still in a bit of a battle for the last two stages, we mightn't have the exact right tyres for the hard, dry, fast stuff, but we'll see how we go.
And now you'll obviously be going to Nelson. What are you expecting for that?
Well, I haven't done Nelson ever, so I mean, having said that, this rally here at Hawke's Bay I did in 1998, so that was 9 years ago. But I've never done Nelson. My co-driver Rob Scott did it last year, so I'll be trying to glean as much information off him as I can about the stages. I believe it's very hard on tyres. I have got the entry form in the mail, and reading about the stages, they sounded really good. I like faster flowing roads to suit my driving style in the car, so that's what it appears to be, so I'm looking forward to it.
It hasn't been too bad really. We got off to a good start up in Whangarei, which we weren't expecting, but then down in Masterton it went a bit ugly and we didn't finish there, so basically got to try and get through these next two events.
It had been 2 months since the last Rally Extreme round in the Wairarapa, and the crews couldn't wait to get started. David Ayling's son Brad was seated number 1 on the road and took stage 1, the 31.16 kilometre Waitara. A great start for the young Subaru pilot who won his first rally in this car, the Whangarei Rally. Seated second in the extreme field was Auckland's Matt Jensen and Brett Wright in their Santa Rosa Mitsubishi. Nearly 40 seconds off the pace of stage 1 winner Ayling, he bounced back to win stage 2, the first pass through the Mohaka Forest at 22.09 kilometres. Kingsley Jones and Waverley Nation were tied on points with Brad Ayling coming into round 3. But the win in the Wairarapa Rally was now a distant memory for the Aucklander. Another of the crews to complain about brake wear after the run through the valley in one. His morning stage score read 3, 2 and 4, and he lay second overall, just 7 seconds adrift. Car 41 was the Mitsubishi VR4 of Peter and Kathleen Clendon. Fourth in their home roads of Wairarapa, but a DNF at round 1 in Whangarei had cost them valuable points. A good result here would see them into the top 5 and into the finals. Fourth and fifth respectively in 1 and 2. They won 3 to make them third overall for the morning. 9 seconds adrift of Jones. Another rally, another car for PSD's David Lachlan and Sarah Coatsworth. A good second overall in the Wairarapa Rally behind Kingsley Jones and yet another borrowed car. This was the competition debut of their brand new Subaru, and they had got off to a flyer. Their report card read 2, 4, 3rd and 3rd. They led the rally from stage 2, but engine problems meant it was an early shower after 5. Wayne Pittams was back into rallying after a lengthy break and at the wheel of car number 36. 5th in 1, but 3rd in 2 and 3rd again in 3. Mohaka coach at 17.23 kilometres saw Pittams, an ex-New Zealand champion, and co-driver Shane Eaton 4th overall after the morning's adventures. Another with a good debut, 4th in Wairarapa. Pittams, with a good result here, would book himself a spot in the final. More than an outside chance was the series leader, Anton Meyer, with one proviso. Could he keep the Spy Optics North Face Subaru on the road? Another crash, this time on the black stuff at Taranaki, meant another hasty rebuild for the crew. A shocking start for the Aucklander. He was 16th in 1, not much better in 2. By morning's end, lay 11th overall. The Rally Extreme two-wheel drive class in the North Island has been a happy hunting ground for the vastly experienced pairing of Grant Liston and Rob Scott. What looked like anything but business as usual for the Avis North Shore Honda ended in special stage 1 with a rear gearbox failure. Listo and co-driver Scott will make it to the finals. Craig Stevens and Chris Alexander in their Mark II Escort fared little better. Hoping to keep Liston and co honest, he was doing just that in stage 1, finishing just 10 seconds behind. But by 2, the start of an electrical problem that would see his rally end in 3 was already troubling him. David Wright and Dana Brooks, who we ride with here, were now the orphans of the Rally Extreme Challenge. The two-wheel drive class decimated here in Hawke's Bay. With both Liston and Stevens gone before the dew had dried on the roads, it meant a lonely battle for Wright. But lonely didn't mean slow. He was fastest of the two-wheel drive cars through 1 and 2, and he inherited the lead in stage 3 and never lost it. Problems had halted the development and the results for David Wright and his Nissan in his previous rallies. But if we listen closely as we ride with him here, you can hear that everything is as it should be, and no gearbox problems to speak of. Hailing from the winterless north, although that phrase is probably redundant about now, are Brendan Oakton and co-driver Anthony Mabbitt. Fresh off a 7th placing in the Fram North Island Series 4th round, this, as well as being a national, extreme and the Hawke's Bay Rally, was round 5 of the Fram Series, just inside the top 10 in 9th after the morning stages. Brian Weir and Lance Prowse had nothing but bad luck in Hawke's Bay. Tied at 4th equal on points with Matt Jensen going into the Tamana Warehousing Rally, he was 13th fastest through 1, the 31.16 kilometre Waitra, but never came out of 2. Servicing, unlike the morning stages, was a wet affair, but for the top teams, it was a chance to change car setups and make the all-important tyre choices for the afternoon roads. Ruth Oldfield and Rick Chambers in their Nissan Pulsar 4-wheel drive are on their first full season of driving, and at the 3rd round of the North Island Rally Extreme Challenge, as part of the Tamana Warehousing Rally, picked up their first top 10 finish even after rolling. A cautious run through the 7 stages. Stage 8 was cancelled, rewarded Anton Meyer with 9th overall in Extreme. The series points leader coming into this, round 3, dropped down to 3rd with 1 round, the notorious Daybreaker in the Manawa 2 still to come. With all the retirements after service, including rally leader at the time Dave Lachlan and Wayne Pittams, Tony Burrows now jumped up to 8th in his shower shop Impreza. Just outside this top 10 stage times in the morning, the pace increased in the afternoon. His best results, 8th, coming in the last 2 stages. Seventh overall in the Rally Extreme Challenge went to Brendan Oakton and Anthony Mabbitt in their Subaru Impreza. Their worst stage result was Stage 1, where they finished a lowly 15th among the extreme competitors. His best, Stage 6, the second pass through the infamous Mohaka coach, where they were 6th overall. The fight might have gone out of the class, but the class sure hadn't gone out of the man. David Wright, who had put the gearbox gremlins of the past behind him, not only won the 2-wheel drive class, okay, he was the only finisher, but more creditably than that, finished 6th overall, with stage times very rarely out of the top 5. Best placed of the Northland drivers was Whangarei's Rob Searle in 5th. Searle and co-driver Natasha Oakton, sister of Brendan, who finished 7th, never put a foot wrong and brought the car to the rally's end with only scratches and bumps and minus a wing mirror. The icing on the cake, their best rally result ever for the pairing. To prove there's plenty of life in the old girl yet, 4th overall was the ex-Richard Mason, Chris Rambo Ramsey Mitsubishi Evo 3 of Cameron Cox and Michael Lawton. The mainstream freight group team in their first full season of Extreme were only just out of the top 10 stage time once in the 7-stage 150-kilometre rally. Remembering that Stage 8, Triple Bridges, was cancelled. A great result for the Remuera student. Even with suspension and reoccurring brake problems, there was no stopping Brad Ayling and new co-driver Malcolm Reed from taking 3rd place. Sure, there were a few retirements around him on the scoreboard, Wayne Pittams with an engine fire, Dave Lachlan with turbo trouble, but Ayling had driven a heady race, only pushing as hard as safety and the conditions would allow. Driving around the problems they faced. Kingsley Jones is one of the fastest drivers around, and his sideways full-on attack is always spectacular to watch. Never out of the top 5 stage times in the morning, and never outside the top 2, including wins on 5 and 6. It was the mid-stages 3 and 4 that cost him the 18 seconds he lost to the Clendons. With 1 round to go, he is assured of a finals berth. Another finals bound is the pairing of Peter and Kathleen Clendon, driving what must be the oldest competitive car in the field. This Wairarapa pairing showed that consistency wins rallies. When David Lachlan stopped 18 kilometres into Stage 4, the Clendons pounced, taking the overall lead and never losing it. Their win, along with 4th at their home rally, almost guarantees them a place in the finals with 1 round to go. So it is the Clendons that take the win here in Hawke's Bay, from Kingsley Jones and Waverley Nation in 2nd place and Brad Ayling and Malcolm Reed in 3rd. 4th place went to Cameron Cox, and in 5th it's Whangarei's Rob Searle. 2-wheel drive was the sole domain of David Wright, and if we have a look at the points, it's interesting with 1 more qualifying round still to come. It's the Daybreaker and you'll see it here.
We hope you enjoyed the show, and you can catch back episodes of Retro Motorsport on our YouTube channel, Sky Channel 83. See you next week.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Wairarapa. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we can't.